Today we are reading The Three Little Horses and the Big Bully Donkey. Once upon a time, there were three little horses named Lax, Max, and Jack that lived in the magical land of Horse Valley. They lived in a house near the big, dark woods. The woods were avoided by everyone because it was the home of a big bully donkey who bullied you until you were scared as a chicken. One cloudy day, when Lax, Max, and Jack were walking back from the market, they smelled smoke. "Oh no!" gasped Max. "That isn't good." Max pointed to a raging fire their way. "It's a big fire! Lightning from the storm this morning must have struck a tree!" squealed Lax. "Let's get to the house!" shouted Jack. "Run!" The brothers ran as fast as their little hooves could go. They finally reached the house, and without thinking, grabbed their wagons and ran inside to save their possessions. This was a dangerous mistake. They hastily filled their wagons. Lax and Max made sure that they saved their TV, video games, and junk food. Suddenly there was a loud crash, and smoke surrounded them as the fire began to eat up the house. "Oh!" groaned Jack as he snatched up as many of his books and art supplies as possible. "The wind must have changed. The house is on fire." "We have to get out of here," coughed Max. "I can barely breathe." "Where's Lax?" whinnied Jack over the roar of the fire. "There he is!" shouted Max. There was Lax, bolting around the house, frantically looking for a way out, screaming his head off and crying, "It's hot in here! I'm melting!" "Come on," snapped Jack. "Let's stay calm. It won't help to panic." He quickly searched for a way out through the flames. He finally spotted an opening in one of the burning walls. "You guys, I see a way out. Follow me," he shouted. He galloped toward the opening, Lax and Max at his heels. Then Jack jumped as far as his little legs could go. "Jack, Jack, wake up!" nickered a voice. Jack opened his eyes. They were just a few feet away from the house, which was now a pile of burnt firewood sizzling and smoking from the rain the clouds had just unleashed, drenching everything. "Is everyone okay?" he coughed nervously. "Yep," answered Max, "except Lax crashed through the wall, and his legs are all scraped up. But he's fine." "Oh, thank goodness," sighed Jack, as he gathered up his soap, books, and paint kit that he had saved from the fire. "I wonder what we'll do now." "How about we go live in the woods, where the land is free to anyone who settles there?" suggested Max eagerly. "We could build separate houses and have our own lives. It'll be great." "Why separate houses?" demanded Jax. "Remember the big bully donkey? He will be safer if we live together in the same house, especially in the woods." "Ha!" scoffed Max. "Like I care about a stubborn donkey. I don't want to be bossed around by you, Jack." "Me either," neighed Lax. "Come on, Max, let's go build our houses." They turned and marched towards the woods, loaded down with their TV, video games, and bags of junk food. "Fine, be that way," Jack muttered grumpily, as he reluctantly followed them, pulling all his wet books and art supplies in his wagon. By the time the three little horses reached the edge of the woods, the rain had stopped. They took one last gloomy look at the smoldering remains of the crumpled, burnt house. "Okay," sighed Max, "now we will go our separate ways. Lax, you go that way. Jack, you go the way you want, and I'll go this way." Lax, who was the first little horse to build his house, wanted to just watch TV instead. However, he knew he had to make a house so he would have shelter and some protection from the bully donkey. After minutes of searching, he saw a bunch of bushes. "Oh, goody," he nickered happily. "I can make my house out of bushes." Then he thought, what an easy thing to make a house out of. This should take no time at all. Lax was not one for doing a lot of work. He started building his house by sloppily cutting and stuffing the bushes together, not even caring that they had prickly thorns in them. After finishing his house, he ran inside and quickly loaded batteries into the TV he had rescued from the fire. While he was watching the Horse Pirates of the Caribbean snuggled up under his blankie, there came the big bully donkey. Now, the big bully donkey wasn't a bully for nothing. He loved kicking down animals' houses for fun, so he had a good trick up his sleeve when he saw Lax's flimsy, bushy house. He charged up to the bush door, slammed his hooves against it, and hollered, little horse, let me come in." Donkey liked saying that since he read that a big bad wolf yelled the same thing at some pigs. It sounded tough. Lax nervously looked up from the TV. He knew that voice came from the big bully donkey. "Please go away, I'm busy," he squeaked. At this, the donkey got angry and shouted, "Then I'll he and I'll haw, and I'll kick your house down." So that was that. The donkey reared his hind legs back and easily kicked the bush house down with a single blow. "No! Ow!" screamed Lax as the house fell back to a pile of thorny bushes. Lax was stuck in the bushes, struggling and sobbing in pain as the thorns stabbed his body. As Lax lay there crying, the donkey stood triumphantly and brayed a halo. "Ha! Hee-haw!" While all this was happening to Lax, his older brother Max was looking for something to make his house out of. Though he would rather start eating and play his video games, he knew he had to make a house for shelter and protection from the donkey. Max noticed that there were a lot of old branches and sticks scattered across the forest floor. He jumped up and down whinnying, "Hallelujah, what an easy thing to make my house out of." He hurriedly gathered all the loose, dry branches and sticks he could find, mashing them together and piling them into walls, not even trimming the ends off the sharp branches. He quickly finished mashing his stick house together and went inside to play video games and eat. There came the big bully donkey. Now, the big donkey wasn't a bully for nothing, and when he saw this rickety, sticky house, he decided to play his little trick again. The donkey charged up to the door and slammed his hoof against it, shouting, little horse, let me come in." Max jumped up from his video game. He knew it was the big bully donkey. With his mouth full of junk food, he yelled, "Go away, donkey, I'm eating." This made the donkey angry. He bellowed, "Then I'll jar and I'll jolt and I'll kick your house down." And that was that. The donkey reared his hind legs back and he kicked the stick house flat. "No! Ugh!" sobbed Max as the house tumbled down upon him. All that was visible of poor Max were his hind legs and his tail, because the rest of him was covered with sharp sticks and branches. The donkey stood triumphantly and brayed, "Ha ha ha! Hee-haw!" During all this time, Jack, the oldest brother, was still looking for something to build his house out of. It took a long time to find something sturdy so Donkey couldn't bother him, but Jack didn't mind because he wanted to do it right. He eventually found a pile of stones. "This looks great," he neighed, "but I think I better find some honey and mix it with mud and water so the stones stick together." The bees weren't too happy about Jack taking their honey, so he had to work fast. Jack mixed the mud and water together with the honey and made sure the stones stuck together. For a strong door, Jack saved an old log into a solid plank. After finishing house, Jack went inside, nursed his bee stings, and did some chores. Finally, while Jack sat down to rest and read a bit, there came the big bully donkey. Now, the donkey wasn't a bully for nothing, and when he saw Jack's house, he decided to play his little trick once again. He charged up to the plank door and slapped his hooves against it. "Ouch!" he groaned as his hooves bounced off the solid door. He angrily cried, little horse, let me come in." Jack calmly looked up from his book. He knew that voice came from the big bully donkey. He shouted back, "Not today, or any other day. Go away." This made the donkey very angry, and he bellowed, "Then I'll bang and I'll bash and I'll bust your house down." That was that. He thrust his hind legs back, and he bashed and he banged and he jarred and he jolted and pounded his hooves against the stone, but he couldn't kick the house down. Exhausted and frustrated, the donkey noticed a small window. "Aha!" he cackled. "I'll go through the window." This was not a good idea. The donkey pushed himself up and tried squeezing through the tiny window, but he got stuck halfway through. His head and front legs were in Jack's house, but his waist and rear end were out. "Get me out of here!" he snapped at Jack as he squirmed to free himself. "Nope," answered Jack. "Please, I'll do anything," begged the poor donkey as he realized that he was completely stuck. Worse yet, the still angry bees had found his rear end was a good target. "Anything?" Jack thought for a moment. Then he said, "Promise you won't be a bully anymore?" "I promise," whimpered the donkey gloomily. "Ouch!" he moaned as another bee stabbed his rear. "All right," neighed Jack. "Then it's settled." Jack turned and raised his hind legs, preparing to kick the donkey out of the window. "Oh, or maybe I can just stay here," whined the donkey, staring helplessly at Jack's hind legs as they wound out to kick him free. It was too late. Jack's hind legs unleashed their power into the donkey. "Ugh!" grunted the donkey as he popped outside and landed square on his already sore rear, with the bees buzzing angrily around his sore head. "There," whinnied Jack. "Now let's go find my brothers." When they finally found Max, he was moaning and picking thorns out of his hide. When they found Max, all they saw was his legs and tail. It took a while to pull him free. The donkey apologized to the three little horses. Jack willingly invited his two brothers and the donkey to live in his house as long as they promised to help around the house and quit watching TV and playing video games all the time. They all enthusiastically agreed because they wanted to be together now, safe and happy in Jack's house, especially the donkey, who finally had some friends. They helped Jack clean up his house and prepared a tasty dinner. Soon the three little horses and the donkey were reading, playing music, singing, and having a jolly good time, and they lived happily ever after. Well, most of the time. You can read The Three Little Horses and the Big Bully Donkey review on experiencingparenthood.com.